what's up? Why you always let me know that I want content in the family trailer? That's some script. Like you said. And then we hope you keep a show.
Okay, good night, good evening, good morning, good afternoon. As you come in, share the live, share the live, share the live. Yes. Good evening, good night, good morning, good afternoon to whichever part of the world you're now joining. Share the live as you come in. Share the live. We take another minute before I start. Share the live, share the live, share the live. Share the life as you know coming in. To those who are now joining, you can subscribe to the YouTube channel, which is G Matthews, and to the Twitter, it is also Gavin Matthews on Twitter. So I'm coming live on 3 social media podiums, which is Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. As to those who are now joining, good evening, good evening, good evening from Guyana to the Caribbean Isles, to the West Indian Isles, to the Pacific Isles, to the British Virgin Isles, to the US Virgin Isles, to the Maldives, Mexico, to Canada, to the United States of America, to Great Britain, to the European Union, to China, Beijing, Hong Kong, Japan, to the to the peninsula, as a matter of fact, to the Asian, uh, uh, to the east and to the North Asian countries, to places like India, to those who are now joining from that particular area, to those who are now, hold on, to those who are now looking at the Gavin Matthews show on, especially those from the Korean Peninsula, those from the Australian continent, to the New Zealand Isles and the Tonga Isles. To those who are now joining for that from that particular area. To those who are also looking at the Gavin Matthews show from the African continent and also the South American continent, from as far away as from Argentina, Chile, Colombia, Venezuela, Brazil, Suriname, to like the French and Dutch Guyana, the Netherlands. Welcome from Curacao. To those who are looking at us from Trinidad and Tobago and from Barbados, welcome to you all. Good evening, good night, good day, good afternoon to whichever part of the world you're coming from. So we're going to discuss some hot topics today. We are going to discuss some hot topics today. And the conversation is brewing on those topics. One of the main topics is the People's National Congress Biennial Conference, where the at more than one time, when those events come up, they elect either a new leader, a new board of executives, and everybody is asking the question, what do Mr. Matthews think of it? I had a few responses on it, and I said then, and I'm going to say it now. We have a dictator and a tyrant as an installed government. His name is Barrett Jagdeo. Don't worry about air fraud. The dunce can't make no sense. Can't handle nothing, he cannot do anything. And the photo op prime minister, it's a waste of time. He's a rubber stamp, and also he's a slave. He's a certified slave. The Prime Minister of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, the installed Prime Minister, is a certified slave. Slave, as a matter of fact, not slave, slave. And his colleagues too that looks like him. All of them that works in this de facto administration that looks like him and looks like me, they are certified slaves. They're being owned and controlled by one individual, Barrett Jagdeo, who is their slave master. So we're going to have a conversation tonight where I'll inculcate a few things, as a matter of fact, include a few things, a few names, and so on. Now, Barrett Jagdeo is a tyrant. He's a terrorist. He's a certified terrorist. This man only knows terrorism. He practices it, he preaches it, and his actions are clear. So, a man like Mr. Barrett Jagdeo, who plays the role as a lunatic, you have to get a lunatic to challenge another lunatic. You understand? So that conversation arose, and I said the only person that I made seem to be crazy enough to challenge Barrett Jagdeo is Aubrey Norton. Because I don't know him much, but what I've heard of him within the ranks of the party of the People's National Congress, and how many persons are afraid of him, because I was made to understand that he's a tyrant also too. So I said to myself, I want him to face Jagdeo. You see, because Jagdeo accustomed to allowing the pockets of the PPP speak. Behind the scenes, he's nothing else but a child, a lonely child. But when he has money, he has power. And right now he's broke. So he got serious problems with that. So what we have to do now is get somebody that I may think that is far more crazy than Jagdeo to challenge him. So the best person to have as an opposition leader is Aubrey Norton. Because Jagdeo and Anil and all them people can't come to Parliament and talk stupidness. They got to run for their money. You see, with this man at the helm, what you call him again, the opposition leader, Joseph Armand. It's not making any sense. It's a waste of time. Truly, he's not. I think he should have stepped down long because he's a conflict of interest. And everybody knows where his law firm is and who it represents within the PPP, on the ranks of the PPP. And Jagdeo is one of them. So everybody knows these things as they come about. So I think him being an opposition leader should have recused himself and step aside, because being a representation and his personal friends are some of those of the PPP, he should have recused himself. He should have said, "Ma, look, to Mr. Granger, watch. It makes no sense. You put me as a opposition leader because I deal with these people over a period amount of years, Jack Jones, all of them, and if you put me, there's going to be a conflict of interest." So it didn't make no sense. So whilst I think he was being, how should I put it over? He was being geared up to become opposition leader. He could have been recused himself and say, "Look, man, I can't do this. Me and these people got too much ties, and I make a lot of money off of them as a lawyer. So it's best you don't worry with me." You understand? The same goes as Mr. Blanham. Mr. Blanham is one of them as Deputy Commissioner of Police. He should have recused himself from the position being placed that he's under. He's the crime chief. But his wife represents the PPP as a lawyer. Oops. I said something. iStock was in plain sight. The truth. You gotta look hard for this, and this is why I tell you is public information. All these people that set themselves up and put themselves in place, right? Hold on. Let me take this call. A pleasant good evening to you. Good night. I mean, I just start, but I can give you 10 minutes because I want to complete what I've said. Go ahead.
You're on a very important topic tonight, and I think this topic means a lot for all Guyanese to meet. It means a lot.
Mm-hmm.
You said the right thing tonight, and I am shocked to know, and I'm not surprised if what you're saying is true with Mr. Harmon.
Oh no, it's nothing to hide. It's just nothing to hide. His law firm represents persons who are politically affiliated with the PPP and represents persons who are part of the PPP. We know that. This is not anything to hide. You understand?
Well, I don't think most of the Guyanese know this. And this is the reason why these guys are forfeiting their responsibility.
Let me show you a simple instance. The crime chief that we have now, Mr. Blanham, his wife is a lawyer, and she also represents the People's Progressive Party and their affiliates.
No, this is what I'm saying. The Chinese people are not aware of these things. This is the reason why
they are aware. Hold on. These people are aware. They know it. But people are afraid to speak out because they frightened they might turn up dead tomorrow morning with a hole in the head. Well, I want but 10 holes, because if you shoot me one time and I still survive, I come in again. They got nothing to stop me.
Correct. Now, this is to show, and I'm going to say this again, the only person, and I want Mr. Granger, Mr. Harmon, and Aubrey Norton, they must acknowledge, right?
Mm-hmm.
That they must acknowledge that what was done on election day was a great, Gavin, this is ridiculous. Mr. Harmon, Mr. Granger, and most of the seniors for the AP and UFC, they should really the Guyana Constitution. You're playing with national security because you forfeit power. You walked away from it. Mr. Norton, if this is your time, you have to live up to your responsibility. Mr. Harmon, Mr. Granger, it is time for you guys to step aside. You're getting more than 10 times the average Guyanese NIS. You're set for life. Move out the way. Guyanese are suffering. You guys are getting more than $500,000 a month plus your NIS. Get out the way. Guyanese need answers. They need more than what you guys have to offer. There's no vision. If there was vision, March 2nd, forfeiting of your power, you guys could have seen this coming here.
You know, I wanna say something that is bothering me. And this is what I wanted to say next before you called. The Attorney General, the how should I put it over? The installed Attorney General is saying that they're looking at a constitutional amendment of ROPA, the Representation of the People's Act, where people must be charged, like the chief elections officer, the deputy chief elections officer, returning officers, and other persons should be charged for high treason, because it is high treason, and should be fined $10 million and have life imprisonment. So, no, hold on, wait. I don't mind he wants that, but then he's forgetting a lot of people after that. He's forgetting the 6 commissioners on the Commission of Commissioners, and he's forgetting the chairperson of commissioners. And I don't want them to be sentenced to life imprisonment. I want them to be hanged. I want you to put a rope around their necks and pull the trapdoor and hang them until their lifeless body can't speak anymore. That's what I want them to do.
Correct. Let them
and then not only them, I don't want life sentence. I want death sentence. Make sure that you put it in the law so that the president could be charged, because you know why? The nonsense you see take place in 2020 when both of them sit down and agree to Claret Singh and Shin nonsense, they should be held accountable too, because they interfere with the process. The electoral constitutional process. They interfere with it.
Because they know better. They know better. And they agree to what took place. They agree to what took place. Mr. Harmon, Mr. Granger, and AP and UFC, they know what took place.
Here,
they know that
if you can't agree to a hanging process, take them before the firing squad.
Gavin, they are aware. They are aware. They know.
I want to know, I want to know how Anil forget himself too.
The Guyanese people, they cannot tell the Guyanese people that they were overthrown. They can't tell them that they weren't overthrown.
They were.
They know.
It wasn't overthrown. The government was overthrown. The minute you look, you know, people don't. You go ahead.
Correct.
I'm gonna give you another 2 minutes to wrap up so I can continue and allow anybody else who want to call.
They know for sure who were the people it is your duty to prosecute. Don't worry with all this election nonsense that they're trying to implement. Let it be retroactive. They must be prosecuted. It is your responsibility because the next time around, you may not have a chance to do what you're doing here. They must be prosecuted, Mr. Norton. They must be prosecuted. Guyanese got to get answer to this. They have to, from the judges to the politicians, all of them, not the small man, the top, the ones who agree to it.
Yep.
Guys, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And keep up your good work.
I will. I will. You too.
Thank you.
I understand your busy schedule, so I decided to allow you to at least have 10 minutes of your time. Stay safe and be careful.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. So we can continue the conversation where we're understanding what's going on right now in this country. Because it seems to me like they got people in this country thinks that they can get away with murder. They can do things as they feel like, and nobody questions. Let us use a simple example what is taking place now. We have Statement Contracting Company that's in the limelight, and Mr. Roll Ferguson, I love to call names because I ain't afraid of nobody. I ain't afraid of no ghosts. Thinks that he can come out there and talk to Guyanese anyhow. So this is the third time I'm addressing him. The monies that you are acquiring to do the contract that you so asked to do by the tender board are taxpayers' money. That's one. Number two, you're open to scrutiny by the Guyanese public because it's me money, friend. So if you think that you could spend me money without me asking you questions, well, you lie. That's number two. Number three, you have never met the requirement for that contract because you would have had to show that your company is capable of handling over $100 million worth in taxpayers' money in contracts. Your company just started. That's number three. Number four, in your entertainment years, hits and jams never passed 15 million. $94.1 never passed 15 million. Don't bluff nobody. You never passed that amount. You never handle the kind of money you're handling now. And I can tell all y'all why you're talking what talking. When I'm done talking, name me, so. Number five, Barrett Jackdio owns more than 50% of Hits and Jams. Hits and Jams is one of his shadow companies that he subsidizes millions of dollars from the national treasury when they issue budgets because the government now pays for advertisement through your company. The kind of money Hits and Jams get from the government, the normal local radio station don't get. Barrett Jackdio owns more than 50% of Hits and Jams. So don't bluff nobody telling people about boys got eat. And this is about the black people thing. Number six, before you sit down quietly Like them rest of people will just get the same kind of contracts, but it's get a $70 million for build one bridge. They build the bridge for 20, not even $20 million, 200,000, and it's packing the rest of money. Who are the tender board gotta get some, who in the government gotta get some, and they still not gonna go in the car and eat. And people is talk and them boys don't talk the mistake you do. Mr. Ron Ferguson is to come on the social media for talk your mouth full of filth before you sit down quietly. Take your 345 million in here. You're such a liar. You say that you is the lowest tender. The lowest tender is 330 million. And it was a statement contracting company. So how can I trust you the first one? You're lying. Well, we are accustomed to that. You guys lie all the time. Before you sit down, accept your little Britons that you now get. Let the media say what they want to say about you. Keep your car now. Collect your little 340 something million dollar. Who gotta get 5 million? Who gotta get 10 million? Who gotta get this and who gotta get that? On which kitchen cat turn up for get something? Stay in your car now. Show that you at least you could do something positive. You gonna open your mouth for disrespect who, me? And I must sit down and take that. By Ralph Ferguson. Tonight there is a call in night. I can take this out. Oh my gosh. A pleasant good evening to you. I'm fired up. Go ahead.
Hi, good night to you, Captain.
Good night.
I'm just calling to back up there with this hits and jam and this contract they've been awarded, the 346, the 346.
Hold on, wait. I ain't done tag the name yet. Just know you can tag.
Okay.
Can you Guyanese remember at least 6 years ago the Canadian authorities, they catch E-family and they settle them in Canada with a house full of drugs? Guyanese, you know these things. Don't forget. It's not me, Gavin Matthews, say, you know what I hear? You know what I love about what I do? I have a refrigerated memory. My retainance is large. And me don't slip certain things. Now, before these boys stay in the car now, collect your little 340 something million dollars, stay in the car now, and keep your mouth shut. He has the audacity to come on social media to play you and disrespect Guyanese. Go ahead, Skipper.
Yes, Gavin. I was watching a kind of I think I gotta describe it as the statement contracting company had a last week here on the program. They had Felice along with Ron and this other guy Sirius. I think it was a mini press conference or something like that. But that's the first time in my life I would have witnessed the employee interviewing the employer. These people is very joke. And I think, Felice as an announcer, she has looked so bad. I used to be listening on the radio a couple of times before I honestly because she has no idea what is going on in terms of that.
I beg your pardon? I beg your pardon? She ain't got no idea? Here, Skipper, here, let me tell you something.
I would assume so.
Oh my gosh.
You understand, right? I would assume so. Because if you hold a press conference, I would expect you to You got the media there too, asking questions and so forth. You understand, right? Not from people within your organization asking the questions. Just very ludicrous, you know. And then too, you had I was kind of surprised to the series, one of the biggest in this country. You know, I mean, he talking about the AP and AFC people talking about the contract and how this school and finish it, it was this school and finish it, and this school and finish it. But he had to be true to the Guyanese public and let them know that after the no contract motion was passed, most of those contracts were ceased. He had to be true to the Guyanese public. Anyway, Gavin, that's all I have to say.
Before you go, I want Series, since he knows and he's talking all what he's talking. Ask him why the government, not the PPP, the government can't pay back NIS at $500 million a tech from them for building Borby's Bridge. You understand what I mean?
Well,
Ask, let's Series sit down with Ralph Ferguson and what's your name, sir? I can't remember the name. Phyllis Robinson.
Yes.
And all of them. Let us sit down and tell Guyanese why the government of today, the PPP, because it's them that take the money from NIS, why they can't pay them back up to now. Why Guy Suku can't get back to Bank of Jamaica $9 million still now?
Well, he only knows about the contracts for the AP.
No, he can't sit down and pick, point and cherry pick. That's why enough of them don't like me, because I start the name. And when I talk, me talking what in my mouth is going to do in public. And I like skin them up because you know why people must forget them?
Yeah.
Because when bodies are dropping in Guyana between 2000 and 2010, and hits and jams are blazing the airwaves and never till to this day ridicule the government. They never ridicule the PPP. They never come out and condemn them for the police and Guyanese lives over the last 1,480. And they can come and tell me about they're representing black Guyanese and African Guyanese. They're an insult and an embarrassment. You got these banners saying, no, killing your brothers and sisters, and you come and talk with filth in your mouth and expect people like me to sit down and accept your nonsense.
Because you got the other black brothers there cash for one thing off the show. And he got a good listening public and listening audience. These guys don't come out as well as Felice. She got a program there in the market.
Here, you know what their job is? You know what their job is? All of them. Casual, Ferguson, Felice, you know what their job is? It is to entertain you, distract you from the main objective, the focus, take your mind off it.
That's so true.
And the rest of them will got you singing for 2 pieces of chicken, a piece of fries, and a 10-ounce drink. And come telling me a mouthful of filth. Why would these boys is what people do sometimes, yeah? You understand me? These boys display that they hide the holy and mighty and them is saints. When the kind of business you do got blood upon the hands, you never hear the tune? Murderer. How much blood upon your shoulder?
And these guys, Gavin, you know, in like when the PPP took over power, you know, I can't remember if it's Ralph or the other one. Sometimes a little boy through go slow, no? The guy died, the little guy died, you know.
Man.
And they had one of the two of them, they had driver's license. We never hear about the story again.
Here, Skipper.
Just to follow.
Here, Skipper. All the time I say these boys they in the car now, they ain't troubling nobody. They just humble whatever they're doing. This is what you got to do. Stay in your car now. Don't come up on social media for make me a JA. You understand me?
Yeah.
This you got to say, Carlo. Don't come out for play you disrespecting boys. Oh, you looking up for the black community. And black people got rise and money got make. Who you think you talking to? This is not Roger Conde's when boys used to die. It's a different dispensation to youth. Let Rod focus, take it and put it in the brains.
And that sounded the one government. You know, I think was only part of this year, or when the AP or when the AP and AFC took government. You know, Barrett and the same series.
Of course.
Also, I think
yeah.
the PP took back power.
Yeah, the two of them, they fall out.
Yeah. See, series out it out. And now series, I'm so ashamed for them, boy.
No, don't be ashamed. Hold on, Skipper. Do not be ashamed of slaves. You got to understand me. Slaves are the people who would give up their own for a piece of paper and some ink on it. Those are the slaves. You hear what I tell you? They give up the family. They would allow genocide to pass just for a few dollars more.
Yeah. He and Bart had to go back in the camp. You understand? Anyway, government. Thanks for entertaining me. Have a good night, brother.
Yeah, man. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for calling. Tonight, I can't get to finish my conversation, man. This phone ringing, I got to call back this caller and calling me just now. This look like an overseas call. Oh my gosh. Thank you very much for calling GMS Live, Voice of Democracy. Good night.
Good night, Captain.
Good night to you.
Nobody never gets hyped on like Kashif and Shanghai and they said who fight them down? Who fight them down? You understand me? They were there since before the government changed, and they said nobody never get fight down like them and don't take prevail for them as they get on top.
Skipper. Nobody cared about them. They went in the corner to make the money.
Right.
I ain't saying nothing because there's their business. But here when it becomes my business, when you can take me money that was awarded to you, and then you can turn around and tell me, the taxpayer, that I can't ask you nothing, but then your eyes pass me. I can come out and I can tear you to shreds. I can do it like why do Jack Dio. You understand? Because them boys, it's not no easy for them boys as terrorists. I mean, you could sit down and call them boys tearing up your black brothers. Why you all don't talk about them? When Jack Dio and his administration, they're murdering black people for them 10, 12 years. Why you don't talk about it? Come tell me about black people gonna make money. No. It's not about soup drinkers, it's slavery. Them boys are slave. That's who they are. What you can do? You can carry all the money to heaven, you got dead and left it. Yeah, you're welcome. And boys know I dep on fire. I don't got nothing holding me back. Them boys can't frighten me. You understand? And right for talk the name, there's how it got for talk. Hold on. See if I get through to this person. This person calling me all the way from the New York area, and I'm trying to return a call before I can continue the show. You know, I'm fired up tonight. Good night to you. This is the GMS Live Voice of Democracy calling you back. Hello? Yes. Person like they want to talk, so I can talk your name back again now. So, the whole juice of the matter is that at the end of the day, people like Anil Nandalal, the de facto Attorney General, that represents a terrorist regime, because that's what the PPP did and keep on doing to spread terror, racism, and hate in this country. You're going to tell me that he wants people to be sentenced to life. And then don't forget yourself. Yes, to the one who's telling me, Gavin, you're on fire. I'm really on fire. I'm fired up. Because them boys can't make I go in no shell and pretend. You know, Mr. Ferguson, what do you say that the media is saying out there that is telling you that you're aligned to the PPP? Them boys is PPP. You're not aligned to nothing. So what? If you're collecting money because you're representing the PPP, hey, what is the problem? When you're going to play your eyes past me for not asking you about me money that you collected that I feel that you're not qualified for. I don't care how black you're black or who living like crabs in a barrel and pulling who down. You got to keep them tax for the slaves like yourself. Not for me. This way you got to keep them tax for. Because as long as you're spending my money, yes, I pay taxes. As long as you're spending my money, Mr. Ferguson, you got to answer for it. So don't bluff nobody. Don't come wrong nobody funny. Keep your mouth shut. Stay in your car now. And handle your business. Because that's where it belongs. Into the world of the PPP. The minute you come on social media to try to defend yourself. And then you come around people funny, but black people got make money and shout out to the people and from all by stung in the ghetto. Because so what happens if you come from the ghetto? So what happens if you come from the ghetto? But you have to align yourself with the PPP, which is a murderous regime. Because you and them buying friends is work for them boys. And I say what Don said. Barrett Jackdio owns more than 50% of Hits and Jams. It's a shadow company for Barrett Jackdio. Mouth open, story jump out. So I don't know how you expect people to sit down and be quiet. I'll continue in the conversation now. So we're going to GCOM, the Elections Commission. Now, Miss Madam Claudette Singh, You're sitting there as chairperson of the Ghana Elections Commission. The Constitution says that you're responsible for two things: regional and general elections and local government elections. It is supposed to be held by every term. The bill was passed in Parliament. That would have been in 2017 and 2018. That all executive bodies that are commissions that are different and there's independent only with the Constitution, but they're independent of the executive, are supposed to be budgeted according to the Constitution via way of budgetary allocations and not under a supplementary guideline like the ministry. So let the general public know, Claudette, saying that y'all had y'all money since then for whole local government elections. No, you haven't done it. Now you are in breach of the Constitution. Nobody can you to court. Joseph Harmon were there. Where are you, Mr. Joseph Harmon? You carrying Claudette to court? She's responsible for holding local government elections. She got the money. It's in the GCOM's account. She got it's there. I don't care if you don't have a chief elections officer. You can put somebody in place and hold local government elections. Failing to do that is a constitutional crime. Nobody came to court yet. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. I wonder we turn into. Maybe it's in Jam didn't get the part of the memo yet. Nobody talking about it yet. I said what I said to the individual, that Mr. Norton is the right man for the work. Because if Jagdio think he can terrorize people, they have to have an opposition leader who can terrorize him too. Don't bother with the dunce. It is simple. If I want to run a country, I can't put somebody who got an equivalent like me. I got to put somebody who's beneath me so I can step on his head. When you're going to ask what Ilford is step on your own head. When he begins to talk, it's like he tumbling down the stairs that has no ending. And every time he tumbling, breaks some part. He say when he get it to talk, he's suddenly speaking garbage. So don't let me go down the road. We're talking about criminals now. So we got Claudette Singh at the head of the Ghana Elections Commission, who's now committing a constitutional crime. Now we're going to jump over now to the judiciary. Now, if there were breaches of the Constitution in the Ghana elections 2020 past, why did the judiciary fail to give judgment on Order 60? Because Order 60 is unconstitutional. It's not in the Constitution. Now we have problems of the law during the West Indies, throughout the West Indies and the Commonwealth, according to Mr. Nandalal, that our Constitution is perfect. So why didn't you adhere to the 10 declared districts by returning officers? If our constitution is so perfect, why didn't you, Mr. Nandalal, adhere to the 10 declared districts? Oh, sorry, I'm asking the wrong person. Why didn't you advise Mr. Attorney General now? Why didn't you advise the chairperson to adhere to the 10 declared districts? Because her body is independent of the executive. So why didn't you put that amendment in place, or the part of the proposal, that any chairperson who fails to act on the declaration of the 10 declared districts must be put before the court, fined $10 million, and been shot to death via way of a firing squad, because that's a high crime and treasonous act. The only verdict is death. Man, I tell you, all this waste Guyanese time, you know. But come in the air and talk a bundle of filth. And while we for sit down and swallow it. And them boys' life so dirty. It hung up on the lamppost. And we play the three blind mice. Oh, you all leave me because I really seen I want to look up. I might see all Anil faults. These people has no regards for your will. And they're talking about the will of the people. Claudette Singh set it aside. She said, put the 10 declared districts aside. Roxanne George Wiltshire agree with her. Then come in and lie to the Guyanese people to tell us in front of we face that Articles 22 of the Representation of the People's Act, I want you to listen, Madam Chancellor, because this is what your acting Chief Justice said to the Guyanese people. That Article 22 gives Claudette Swing autonomous powers to act on behalf of the people. So Order 60 becomes, no, well, she didn't say Order 60 becomes valid. She stopped short in saying Order 60 becomes valid. What she said is the Chancellor of the Judiciary has wide-ranging autonomy powers to find the best solution forward. That's what she said. That decision was supposed to be made via way of an elections petition being given by the PPP, because that's what the Constitution said. There are a lot of things that has took place thus far. A lot of things. Guyanese are being put to the test daily because of the shortcomings of these politicians. Guyanese, let me pick sense out of nonsense. Don't you think these politicians know about each other? Don't you know that who got dirty laundry hung up in Kitty, hung up in Newtown and Charlestown, them till over the river know about each other? They know about one another. They know about one another. And they just help out one another too, you know. Yeah, man. Opposition and executive members of parliament, they help one another out. You know how much of them supposed to go to jail by now? They help out one another. I know why it is called politicking. Poly means more. Ticks means blood suckers. It's more blood sucking ticks. That's what politics means. The word poly. You should study the origin of words. That's why I'm so crafty at what I do. Nobody can bring stupidness and put me for so long and give me a tablet bits and tell me I'm a swallow it. My scolophsis, trying to pronounce the word properly. That's its throat, pipe, fancy word. It's not that big, so I can't swallow pills that large. And the lies, they are that large. Between me and you, the big bad, big more than the laptop there in front of me. Can't swallow it. So I started studying these things. So I become pregnant with all these information waiting to give birth to it. And as I give birth, I inform the nation. Because I can't hold it in anymore. You know, a woman who carries a baby for 9 months, the baby's ripe and ready to give birth. That's how I was. This is why I am like what I am now. I had 23 years of devastation of the PPP. I was pregnant all the time, ready to give birth. Here I am. So I don't have to wait on nobody to give me permission to represent them. I like information, not misinformation. I like information. I like to inform others, educate them, prepare them for what is to come next. You know, all these boys was friends in the earlier days. And they decided to split up among each other. Who take the PPP, who take the PNC. That's how it works. So when they done split up, they meet up each other again in the latter days of their political life like now. When everybody's depending on someone to represent them. And then we got ducks flying around in giving ear or heed to the understanding of those who are crying in the wilderness. People are thirsty. Politicians need to give them water to drink. They are hungry. They need to nurture them so they can be filled. They need shelter so you can represent them so shelter can be created. It's when a man represents a person or a people, they have some sort of shelter. They have a clout that they can depend on to hang over their heads to shelter them from the rainy days that are now in process. Rod Ferguson talking about black people out in the ghetto. Black people has nobody to represent them now. Imagine you just was given 345 million for you and your company and your colleagues. Those who are in need or in poverty can't get nothing from you because you say it's out of poverty you come. So people got to give you space so you can rise. Out of the same people money who punishing every single day Out of the same people money who punishing every single day. They can't even afford for you to plate of food. They got a bundle of borrows as fine as me one finger. It's $200. 4, 6. You think so much borrow could feed a family? By the time it done cook, the amount of chemicals it got in it. By the time it finished cooking, it reduced to 1 plate of food. And then you're telling people, but black people gotta eat. Upon whose sweat is thank God that the sovereign wealth fund exists. So Jack, you can't get the sweat of the people. You can't enjoy the oil money. You can't get nothing. You running around here and the liard and the dunce running around trying to see if they can borrow money from people. The people say, hey, hold up, wait. You come for borrow money. Here is the problem. According to my knowledge, Exxon just give you a receipt of 9.5 billion US dollars. That means that you got to pay them back. This is money that they spend, and you got to pay them back according to the contract. You owe Jamaica 9 million. You can't even start paying them back yet. The Bank of Jamaica. You owe NIS about 500 million Guyana dollars. Can't get them back your money. It's your own money that you owe somebody. Can't get them back up to now. You have external debts in exceedance of at least another 100 million that you have in red. Sorry, not external. Local debts that you have in red that you owe the Bank of Guyana because you keep spending money that surpasses a particular amount. Then you surpass a $40 million from the consolidated fund, and that's US. You can't, your country can't guarantee the kind of taxes to start repaying this money. But you come to me now to borrow money. Oh, you expect me to lend you when you got all this debt? You know, I don't think we're going anywhere with this nonsense. We're not. As a country, we're profiting, and as a people, it's benefiting we. So now what is there to lose? We don't lose everything. Why are we holding on to something that ain't gonna happen? You can't have faith in the PPP, you can't give them hope. The PPP doesn't have a voting constituency. All the racist voters left this country. All of them. They barely here. If they got a house registration now. Right now. The PPP can't make more than 120,000 people to vote for them. The voting population is 450,000. Subtract 120. You got 330,000 people left. And majority of them are considered black man. Because we ain't got no way to go. We ain't got them fancy visas and them fancy money. That's how much people left back in this country, yes. Don't bother with the statistics. Hey, let me tell you something. Anybody come to you with the statistics right now, they're liars, especially those from the United States of America. Well, you know you can't trust them. They was the jack deal. Then there's a legal bar association all the way from the United States of America that's predominantly black lawyers and judges who are here in Guyana. And well, I'm sure they got Facebook by now. And the US Embassy can tell them, look, they got a guy named Gavin Matthews. No, sorry. They have a gentleman by the name of Dr. Gavin Matthews who just bash us and the government. Y'all, please don't listen to him. I know that it's listen. Ask Sarah, she can tell you. She's a constant viewer of my program. So she knows I bash her a lot. I make no qualms about it. But I'm saying the Bar Association that is here needs to understand of the racist displacement population of a black people are being orchestrated by the People's Progressive Terrorist Party as an installed regime. So my plight now to the opposition, my plight right now to the opposition is one thing. Aubrey, if you're listening, hurry up and take over. I don't want Joseph Harmon to go back to Parliament. No. I don't want any of them to represent me. I need him to step down from where he is and drift into the memories of Epiphany so he can sit there and just relax himself and go back to practicing law. You know, as I say again, I want a vibrant opposition, somebody that can challenge Anil Nandalal, Bharat Jagdeo, and the dunce that we have for president. And the blind mice and the photo op, himself and companion in the office of the prime minister. Because like he likes it there. He loves it. What a waste of time. These slaves doesn't know what slavery is like. Because you could imagine Guyanese, black or Afro-Guyanese, who are now being punished by this administration because we predominantly voted for APNU AFC. So we're being punished just for being black. Oh, and me? And sometimes they just want to make a mess out of me, man. We got you on steady. Go to court, come back. Case get called off, come back. My thing is that these guys are not wicked, you know. No, they're not wicked. And by his past wicked stage, wicked is like for Christians, you know. He's wicked. He's evil. Them boys don't know what is it to be wicked and to be evil. They pass them stage. The level of terrorism that they practice, they have no words for it. And they are tearing and destroying this country, tearing it up apart, whether we like it or not. They're making a mess out of us. They're making a mess out of us. Man, they're destroying us like a domino effect. We don't have to look farther for. We don't have to look farther for help and justice. When these things are being done to us in such a fast manner, the effect of terror that we feel in this country is so rapidly done to us as a people. It's hurtful. And to know we have people who claim to be black people like us are in prominent positions to represent their own. The level of inhumane and indignity treatment that we go through. And they can sit there and keep quiet and tell us that money gonna make. Upon whose lives? Not my son. A different story. By the way, though, we have met our time. I've realized that some people have continued to vote. I very much appreciate that. There were some headways on that. That information, the referendum, and it will be announced soon. And I appreciate all that has been done, and I would like more votes to come in. I would appreciate more contributions on the GoFundMe to also roll in, and so we can get the will of the people acting. I want to say to all those who are looking and listening, I'm not a political activist. I am not. I'm a civil rights and human rights activist. That's what I do. I represent the people. I'm not confined to a political party because I'm no member of any political party. I am not an entertainer. I'm an educator. That's what I do. And to those who are interested in my qualifications, I am self-learned and self-certified. That's why I call myself Dr. Gavin Matthews. You don't have to look far to see where my university is. It's speaking to you. I don't have to send you across the river to Iflot to look for it, and it still cannot be found. My university is speaking to you. My degree, which is my decree, is speaking to you. Okay? My master's degree is speaking to you. My doctorate is speaking to you. That's how I qualify myself. And no man has to do that. I have the powers to do so. And how I have those powers? I was born with it. 3 of them. They are called inalienable rights. Right to life, right to liberty, and the right to property. Every man is born with it. And you prove yourself to be qualified by those rights. I want to thank you very much. I want to say to you to stay safe, be careful, sanitize yourself, wear a mask. Don't forget the little ones you take into public places. This is Dr. Matthews saying good night and Cheerios for now.